Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz, Christy, Lemire, Alonso, Matt, whatever the hell their last names are. Les Mis.
We're gonna do this whole thing in song, but we're not grungy enough. We all showered.
But here's the thing: if you're gonna do the intro to Les Mis in song, I don't think that shot is tight enough.
Right, it should be from the clavicles up.
Right.
I need to like shear all my hair off and become a prostitute all of a sudden because I need the money.
And be spinning around and around and around.
For actual money this time. It's very belle de jour. So, the Les Mis, perhaps you've heard of it. It was a Broadway musical sensation, London musical sensation based on the Victor Hugo book. Hugh Jackman is Jean Valjean, prisoner number 24601. Please sing. 24601. Come on, it's been in my head for like a month now. It's driving me effing insane. So Jean Valjean breaks his parole, becomes a prosperous and pious man. 10 francs will save my poor Cosette. We're going to talk about the movie eventually, I swear.
We have not been drinking yet either.
No.
I might have had some cough medicine. So Javert is still after Jean Valjean for breaking his parole, but Jean Valjean's reinvented himself as this.
Sorry.
Are you done? And the people sing the entire time, as you can tell. Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Anne Hathaway, lots of grunginess and a lot of camera movement. Take a look.
I'm cold. Would you let me stay for tonight? I know who you are. You're Jean Valjean. Jean Valjean! Right, my girl. On your way.
And a dream my life would be. Help me, please, I have a child. So different from this hell I'm living. So different now from what it seems.
Where is your child?
No life has killed the dream.
So I think it helps a lot if you have seen this musical and or like it. I think knowing the music going in is helpful.
I'm sure it is.
I did know the musical.
Yeah, right.
And it didn't help.
Okay, so why? Because you liked it?
You didn't just like it; you really liked it. Like you saw the show and was like, "Oh, this is fantastic."
I enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I didn't buy the cast album or anything, but yeah, I mean, I saw the show. I thought it was effective. There were some good songs in it. You know, it worked for me as an evening in the theater. You know, and I went in skeptical because by that point I saw like the national tour, so it had already been sort of raved as the greatest thing since sliced baguette.
Yeah.
So,
I saw it in LA when I was 15, but like I listened to the soundtrack in high school, like we all did.
Gotcha.
All angsty.
You probably had like that black sweater with the sweatshirt
Right.
with the white Phantom of the Opera mask
Off the
on it,
shoulder, 'cause it was the 80s.
Absolutely. Anyway, so no, I mean, I didn't adore the material, but I knew it going in, and from the first scene of this movie, it was so not working for me.
No?
I felt like every choice was wrong. Like the camera was always in the wrong place. The vocals seemed to be either too strained or too overblown. The performances weren't working for me. I don't go in gunning for movies. I went in kind of excited about this one, actually. I'd heard good things. I hated it from start to finish.
Wow.
I was in misery, and this is one of the worst movies I saw this year.
Wow.
I at the beginning, I had instantly got uncomfortable at the beginning. Within 2 seconds, I was uncomfortable.
Wow.
But I thought, the first scene is you got Jean Valjean, he's a prisoner, and they're trying to pull a boat back into the dock.
It's raining.
It's raining, and Javert's looking over them, and you can tell he's mean and authoritative. And I thought, okay, I'm already uncomfortable, but maybe because of what I'd heard about it and what I'd anticipated, I thought, well, maybe this will be so splendid and so grand that the fact that I'm uncomfortable right now, that I'll ease into the fact that I can't bear these tight shots of people singing, and I think many others won't be able to bear
Well, you don't like musicals anyway.
No, I like plenty of
No,
musicals.
you don't.
Really? No, completely.
Name me a musical that you like.
I can't. I like
You're
Chicago.
a disgrace to TCM.
I mean, there's plenty.
He likes West Side Story, I swear.
but I do. I love, I love Royal Wedding. I listen.
Singing in the Rain.
But it helps a little. I love Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I like, but they gotta. But this is different. It's different than all those. The tight shots of people. It takes the worst of American Idol and then gives it to you for 2 hours and 37 minutes. So what I was hoping was that the spectacle of it would get past my discomfort. and that just never happened. It just felt like the same moment. I felt like the movie actually got smaller and smaller and smaller as it went on, just keeping the really awkward parts.
See, I like the fact that he shoots the big production numbers in one single take, and that it is just this person like from the clavicles up, and it brings a whole new emotion to the lyrics, and the fact that they are singing on camera, allegedly. It's not perfect.
Singing on the set.
Right, but it's not like they've gone to a booth and recorded
They didn't, and then dub it and then lip sync it.
But I
To be
like
clear,
the
that wasn't invented for this movie.
I know, but I like the imperfection of that, and I like that Anne Hathaway gets choked up or whatever. It is self-indulgent, absolutely, but I like you achieve new meaning with the lyrics that you knew already going into it.
I have to tell you, I was really surprised by this movie. I went into this movie, in no way did I want to see that. I've never liked this musical. My biggest experience, as I've talked to you about, was, you'll be at karaoke night and people are singing Journey or Sir Mix-a-Lot, and then some asshole comes along and sings I Dreamed a Dream and just ruins the whole party. Like, that's my experience with this. So I'm going into this thinking, oh God, this is gonna be a slog. And halfway through the first half of the movie, I'm thinking, damn, I was really impressed. The spectacle of it worked for me. The performances, the recordings, the imperfections of it totally sold me. And then I got to kind of where the act break happens in the musical. And you get into that second act, and I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. It just started to get tedious. A lot of marching around and a lot of like the same.
The same thing happened again and again and again.
But the beginning of it, I thought it started really strong. I was totally sold and totally blown away. And as I said, the spectacle of it really worked for me, and then it lost me.
What turned me off early on is that they take these characters and render them as such like, boo, I'm being suffering, and people are
miserable.
I know they're miserable.
Hence the title.
I know that, and which is fine. But I'm saying, but there, it is almost a sense of masochism of like, there's so much noble suffering. Oh, poor Jean Valjean, mistreated by the law, and oh, Fantine, clutching her breast and dying gracefully, but not before belting out a big song. It felt like, oh, poor us, suffer, 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 and that's not what Victor Hugo was writing about. But But the Tom Hooper, who directed King's Speech, turns all of this into like the hackiest sort of melodrama, complete with last-minute rescues and cliffhangers and whatnot.
No, it's not subtle. I'm not saying it's subtle.
I was dying
like
for
it's well
Broadway,
made.
right? I mean, it is theatrical in the sense that there aren't any quiet moments. Like, even the quiet moments are really in your face.
There was a moment when
Literally,
when the
with the
kid, what's his name?
Gavroche.
No, the kid who ends up with Amanda Seyfried.
Cosette.
No, that's
No,
her
the
name.
boy,
The boy,
Marius.
Marius.
Oh,
right.
Marius,
There's a
okay.
boy when Marius
Kids in this movie.
reaches down and finds a little kid toward the end, and they start talking. They have a conversation for like 11 seconds, and I like would have paid any amount of money for them to just continue talking without singing. Regarding King's Speech, like I was desperate for Russell Crowe to start stuttering. Like that was.
No, but
that would have been great.
Poor Russell Crowe, he's so outmatched here vocally. I mean, he's been in rock bands, but he does not have that caliber of voice.
No. I felt bad for him. He's miscast in terms of vocally.
Yeah, I felt bad for him too.
Because
Yeah.
he does not have those sort of pipes because this isn't even just like Broadway pipes.
When he gets his solo
half
song.
opera Broadway pipes,
And Javert is a very menacing figure, and the fact that he can't hold his own with Hugh Jackman totally strips the menace of Javert. I would, speaking of wanting to see something different, I wanted to see a conversation between Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe about the same exact thing, not singing.
Right.
Because they can handle that in two of them.
Totally, and it might have turned. It would have given Russell Crowe. I love Hugh Jackman; he's great, but at least he would have been on equal footing. And I'm sure Russell Crowe can sing in a rock band. He sounded like somebody who can probably sing when there's music backing him, that kind of music.
put him in Rock of Ages. There we go.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, no kidding. I didn't think that Jackman's singing, frankly, was all that great. A lot of it, it felt, like when they talk about the difference between your head voice and your chest voice. A lot of it felt very head voice. Like
when it's higher in his register, it gets very nasal.
Yeah, and so it didn't. I mentioned
it doesn't work.
I mentioned in my review, I said, I don't even remember the guy's name, but whoever played Jean Valjean in that touring company that I saw in Dallas 20 years ago, when he sang Bring Him Home, I got chills. And that was a song that I had been making fun of because the TV ads for that play played that song over and over again, like just the sort of the hooky chunk, And so then I was looking for, I thought, if nothing else works in this movie, Bring Him Home is coming, and that's going to really, and Jackman sings it, and I'm like, no, not even this, no.
But speaking of the original Les Misérables, there's a nice little cameo for the original Jean Valjean.
Oh, really?
He is the bishop
Oh, is he?
Colin Wilkinson, who does,
Yeah,
he was the original Jean
was the
Valjean on
original.
London
Interesting.
and
In London
Broadway.
and Broadway,
And like
right.
the first second you hear his voice, it's like, oh, I know that voice because he's the original dude.
And you know, it's what, I mean, this is the kind of movie where by the end of it, I'm thinking, you're still lugging around those candlesticks? You've been a fugitive for 20 years?
They're
and
They're
you
really
still carry
nice.
them around?
Yeah,
They're
they're
very
super,
expensive.
super heavy.
The
Yeah.
craftsmanship.
I wanted the conversation after when he brings the candlestick, when the bishop says, no, the candlesticks are yours too, and then the cops leave, that then what that next conversation would have been, which would have been like, so, just to be clear,
I can have these.
have these or no? Yeah.
They're mine right now. I can take them home.
I did enjoy Master of the House.
Yes, Sacha
fun.
Baron
The
Cohen
one
is
light
fun.
moment.
Yeah, the one light
Yeah,
moment. I like
much
the-
needed by that point.
you know that
All right, so-
Javert is a douche because he says his name in the third person 172 times. It was like seeing Wade Boggs in a musical.
It's an interview with Garth Brooks.
That was for you.
Carmelo have to do what Carmelo have to do.
Yeah.
So we should do numbers really fast,
All
right?
right,
Yes.
yeah.
I can remember
I
what
gave
said.
I gave it a 2.3, and I'm not low.
I'm giving it a 6.3.
A 1.8, and I'm not sorry.
6 something. what
Six
did I
and a
say?
half.
6.5. I was impressed.
When Anne Hathaway
Mostly.
wins her Oscar, you're all going to be really sorry.
No, she'll win it, but she's still terrible.
I don't know. I didn't think she was that. I mean, there were so many other things wrong. She did get her haircut and singing live, which I guess is a guarantee to win an Oscar.
And playing a prostitute, that helps sometimes
Always,
too.
always helps to be a whore. 4.2 for very mixed, but a 4.2 for lateness.
We're very low on this compared to the tomato meter.
Tomato meter's in the 70s, actually.
Yeah.
Bye.